welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're diving deep into this really fascinating text by Abdullah Al-Maiman. It's called Spectrum Colors for Teaching Thinking, and we're going to unpack his brilliant 10-skill framework. Why? Because it can literally transform how we make our everyday choices. Think about it. We all make, what, dozens of decisions a day? But how often do we actually stop and look at the mechanics of how we choose? Well, by the end of this, you're going to have a highly practical, step-by-step toolkit to navigate absolutely everything, from what you're eating for dinner tonight all the way to major life investments. To make this super easy to digest, we've organized his 10 skills into a clear, 4-phase journey. We'll hit the basics of decision-making, overcoming bias and pressures, organizing options and alternatives, and finally, decisiveness and final choice. So let's jump right into phase 1, basics of decision-making. We're talking about weighing benefits, harms, improvements, and cautions. To really wrap our heads around this, imagine a family coming home late from the market. Everyone is exhausted, and that classic debate sparks up. Should we just grab some fast food for dinner? It's a completely everyday dilemma, right? But it perfectly sets up the very foundation of our framework, which is calculating the immediate benefits versus the harms. Here's the crucial point. Literally every choice has obvious perks. In the text, Al-Maiman uses a Boy Scout trip teaching self-reliance as a really clear benefit. But skill 1, finding those benefits, has to be instantly paired with skill 2, which is actively scanning for the harms. You really can't have one without the other. If you're only looking at the positives, you're basically wearing blinders. So, looking back at our tired family, the immediate benefit of fast food is, well, pure convenience. No cooking, massive time saved. But you've got to weigh that against the hidden harms. We're talking long-term health risks like high cholesterol, and even social harms like the family scattering to eat in their separate rooms instead of actually bonding over a shared meal. Now, realizing there are harms doesn't necessarily mean you have to abandon the choice entirely. And that's exactly where skill 3 comes in, improving a flawed decision. Our family decides to still get the quick meal, but they tweak the variables. They swap out the fried food for grilled, they add a side salad, and they ditch the sugary sodas for juice. See what they did? They minimized the harms while keeping that core benefit of convenience. Now that is active decision-making. But wait, even with those improvements, we still need skill 4, caution and attention. The source material shares this amazing cautionary tale about a guy named Faisal. He finds this beautiful rural house for summer vacations at an unbeatable price. He checks the plumbing, the electricity, the legal deeds, everything looks absolutely perfect, so he pulls the trigger and buys it. But then winter rolls around, and he realizes a massive, glaring flaw. The house has 0 internal heating. Missing just one vital detail can literally freeze your future plans. Caution means actively hunting for what isn't obvious. All right, moving on to phase 2, overcoming bias and pressures. Or as I like to call it, surviving the aggressive salesman. This brings us perfectly into skill 5. Have you ever been shopping for electronics, and the salesman suddenly drops a line exactly like this? I can give you half price, but only if you decide in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, we've all been there. This is a manufactured time constraint. It's a classic pressure trap, designed intentionally to completely paralyze your logic and force you into a panicked choice. And hey, if the fake ticking clock doesn't work, they might pivot to this one. My boss is going to dock my pay for this deal, but I'll do it just for you. Boom! Now he's hitting you with guilt. He is layering on emotional pressure, turning a simple, straightforward commercial transaction into a weird personal favor, basically cornering you into saying yes just to escape the awkwardness. Identifying these sneaky tactics is the absolute core of skill 5, recognizing bias and pressures. Whether it's an external force like a manipulative salesman, or honestly, an internal bias like favoring a specific brand just out of habit, you have to spot it. When you feel that squeeze, you must step back, neutralize the tactic, and demand the breathing room to actually think clearly. Never ever let someone else's artificial emergency dictate your final call. Okay, let's roll right into phase 3, organizing options and alternatives. Basically, what to do when your perfect first choice fails. Let's look at skill 6. The text presents this highly relatable scenario where a young boy is incredibly excited for a school trip to a dairy farm. He wakes up early, grabs his dad, they jump in the car, and the car completely breaks down. Now, panic, frustration, just throwing your hands up and giving up, that might be your very first instinct. But a skilled decision maker immediately transitions into finding alternatives. Instead of just abandoning the trip, you deploy skill 6, generating alternatives. And your options are actually pretty plentiful if you just stay calm. You could call a friend to hitch a ride, maybe grab a taxi, walk if the meeting point is close enough, or heck, even call the school to see if the bus can intercept you on its route. The absolute key here is flexibility. You bypass the obstacle. You don't let it stop you. Next up is skill 7, prioritizing. This is perfectly demonstrated by another example from the book. Imagine a student who gets cash gifts for his high school graduation. He creates this massive, overflowing wish list: a new laptop, an English course, gifts for his parents, a speed reading course, books, new clothes. It's great. But he quickly realizes his vast wish list way exceeds his actual budget. Realistically, he can only afford about 4 things. So, he has to apply skill 7. By bringing in logical constraints, he forces himself to rank his true needs. He puts the fast reading course first because that's going to help with his future studies, followed by a gift to show gratitude to his parents, then the laptop, and finally the books. Applying priorities turns this overwhelming, impossible list into a highly actionable roadmap. Believe me, it saves time, it saves money, and it totally prevents buyer's remorse. And when you've finally narrowed things down to 2 valid options, you bring in skill 8, comparison. The text tells a great story of a father and son trying to buy an air conditioner. The dad, he wants the window AC because, well, it's cheaper and faster to install. But the son wants the split AC because it's so much quieter for studying. By placing the features literally side by side, you completely separate the objective facts from the subjective feelings, which allows for a truly logical compromise. Which brings us to our final stop, phase 4, decisiveness and final choice. It's time to make the final call. Let's talk about skill 9, intuition. The author describes this guy looking at 3 different phone brands: Nokia, Samsung, and LG. After examining them, he just kind of feels drawn to the Samsung. He doesn't immediately know exactly why, he just feels a sense of comfort. Well, that is your intuition talking. It's actually a rapid subconscious calculation by your brain based on all your past experiences. It serves as a highly powerful guide, an internal clue, really. But, and this is absolutely vital, it shouldn't be your only metric. It's a clue, guys, not the entire case. Which brings us to the grand finale, skill 10, reasons for choice. This is the ultimate wrap-up, where you explicitly state the why behind your decision. You blend those logical comparisons, like the warranty and the price of that phone, with your priority alignment and your intuitive comfort. When you can confidently articulate the exact reasons you chose path A over path B using those previous 9 skills we just talked about, you completely eliminate post-decision regret. You are the one in total control. So, I want to leave you with this final thought from Al Maymon's framework to really reflect on in your own life. Look back at the last major choice you made. Were your decisions structurally sound? Were they backed by an honest look at the harms, clear alternatives, and logical priorities? Or are you just kind of flying by the seat of your pants, hoping your intuition is always right? Building a solid framework takes a little extra thought up front for sure, but it guarantees a lifetime of far better outcomes. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.